Check, check. No Jumper, the coolest podcast in the world. We are very honored today to have the one and only Yes Julz in here. It was a much requested interview that people have been trying to get us to do for years now.
Really?
Well,
no. Probably a couple months.
We haven't been around for a year, so I mean, theoretically, yeah. But I'm very excited to have this conversation because I feel like you're definitely a person that everybody knows about, but people are kind of confused about. They don't know all the details.
Yeah, it seems like that seems to be like a reoccurring, like, what do you even do is the question on...
Exactly. Isn't that kind of offensive?
I just went on a Twitter rant about this the other day. It's not offensive because it obviously, like, what a person does is a large part of, like, who they are and what they're passionate about. But I really just don't like it when people ask me that within, like, the first 2 minutes that I meet them.
Or people are so proud to be like, I don't even know what she does. Or like they always say that about Ian Connor and everybody who it's like a little bit mysterious.
I don't think it's a very simple concept, right? I don't think I'm mysterious. I don't think Ian's mysterious about what he does. I think it's just that people are so used to putting like people in a box.
Right.
And it's like, if you can't just say one thing, people get confused. So it's like, oh, well, is he a model? Is he a stylist? Is he a rapper? Like, you know.
And with you, it's like, it really is the fact that you do a lot of different things. It's like it's like impossible for people to understand that you could like model and also run a business.
Yeah. Well, I definitely don't model.
Well, but you have modeled in a sense.
Yeah. Like I just like to flick up when I'm feeling cute, or, you know, if I have a friend that has a brand and hits me up like, yo, let's do this, I'll do it, you know, kind of just to like support. But I really hate taking pictures professionally.
Do you really?
Like I would rather take pictures of myself on my phone than let somebody else point a camera at me and take pictures, because I just feel really awkward.
Right. Well, okay, but so for the people who don't understand what you do, we got to like go back way back in time here, and don't tell me what you do yet, because I want to just go back to like you as like a small child. Can we talk about your early upbringing, where you were born and stuff?
Yeah. I was born in Miami and was kind of like raised there for a little bit and then moved around a lot. Okay. So, yeah, that's another thing that I always get to. Like, people, it's always, where are you from? And that's a hard answer. That's a hard question to answer too, because
you moved around that much.
Yeah. So I feel like I'm from Miami. I feel like I'm from Winthrop, and I feel like I'm from Tampa. Okay. Because I grew up like Spice Girls days was in Winthrop, Massachusetts. Like I got adopted, lived there. Oh shit! All right. And New England.
I'm from Nashua, New Hampshire, which is right outside Boston. So
okay, yeah. I used to play hockey, so we would like go up there to all those little spots.
Wow. Any memories at all of like of the New England lifestyle or what? And why were you moving around? What the fuck were your parents doing?
I was in foster care for a little bit, and then when I got adopted, that's when I stayed with one family, and we moved. They were living in Boston, so that's how I ended up in Boston. But I feel like up there, it's kind of like, it's cool in a sense when you're young, because it's such small towns. Right. So your parents will be like, oh yeah, you want to go to the park for 5 hours? Go ahead, because I know little Johnny's dad down the street lives across from the park and can watch you guys or whatever. So there's a lot of freedom for kids in that sense, like when you're a preteen and whatnot. But then once you grow up, and I left right before 8th grade. So I feel like when I left, I was pissed. I'm like, oh, my parents are ruining my life. All my friends, we were about to go to high school and be lit together.
As a kid, that's the most traumatic thing ever.
It was like the worst thing ever to me. And then like 2 years later, a lot of my friends that I had there were either like on heroin or pregnant or in jail. So I was like, damn, Pops, like, all right, maybe that was a good move, because once you get to a certain age, then, you know, going to the park and all that shit is just not, you know, it's not fun anymore. There's nothing to do in those small towns. There's no real like culture or vibe, so people just turn to drugs or you know, they just fuck.
That's the weird thing that, like, I watched this documentary, Cape Cod Heroin USA or some shit, and it's like a lot of the stuff that the people would say, and like, I don't know why we're talking about heroin addiction all of a sudden 2 minutes in this interview, but
shout out.
Shout out all our heroin users out there. We fucks with you. This is not a hate
Hope
rant.
It's going well.
Yeah. Keep it up. But the fact that like people would get off heroin and then they would just be like, well, there's nothing to do here, and it's like you totally understand why people get into drugs, just because they're just bored. Like,
yeah, it's crazy.
Lacking any other option.
Yeah. So was happy to get out of there early, moved to Tampa, and then because that's where my mom's job relocated her. So I kind of did like my last year of middle school and high school and college in Tampa, and then was like, all right, I want to go to a big city and make lots of money and like do my thing. So I didn't have enough money to go to LA or New York yet, and Miami was the closest spot, so that's where I went.
Wait, so with your parents though, like, how did you end up in foster home? Like, what was your relationship with your folks like?
I never really knew my dad until I just met him like last year. But my mom and my stepdad, they were just on drugs. So they were just like trying to stay out of jail and weren't.
And did you recognize this from a really young age? Did you have like a rough upbringing as a result?
I mean, it's all relative, you know? Like anybody could really say they had a rough upbringing just depending on what their experience was. But like for me, I like to look at it as I learned how to network at a really young age.
Network how?
In a sense, you know, when you're in foster care, you kind of gotta
be on your
you gotta
toes.
make sure people like you.
Okay,
you know what I mean? If you want to stay around or like kind of have like a permanent situation, or you know, you're in and out of different like homes, and there's different school. You're always the new girl in school. Like after school care, you have to make new friends all the time. So I kind of just learned really early on like how to pay attention to people and how to keep relationships with people, and also kind of learn not to take things personal and to move fast in stressful situations. So I think like everything that I went through kind of built those characteristics and traits in me, and those are the traits that I think are necessary for like, you know, entrepreneurs or people trying to be in the entertainment industry.
But did you always feel like, even when you were like young, did you feel like I was meant to be something, like I was meant to do something bigger with myself, or did you just really want to find a way out of that?
Yeah, I mean, not to sound cocky, but like I always thought that like everybody felt that they were special, because I always felt like I would have. I was so annoying. Like, I was that bossy little girl that just was like, okay, we're going to play Office today, and you're working for me, and these projects are due at this time. And
so when you look back, you can recognize that you were always a hashtag girl boss from a young age, or what?
Oh, my God. I have videos. And, it's so crazy, because I'm at a point right now in my life where, like, things are all starting to make sense. So, like, for the past year or 2 years or 3 years even, I've been like, what am I meant to do? Like, where is this all going? Like, oh, shit, this party shit popped off. Like, what's it mean? What am I going to be doing when I'm 30, like, running around throwing parties? And so all these things are kind of starting to, like, fall into play. And you start to think back on your early years, and it really just starts to make sense. Like, I used to be at the children's home that I was at. They would like put on a movie or something and just be like, all right, kids, watch this movie. And we had this like clubhouse in the back. And so if I knew it was going to be like a movie day and the teachers weren't going to be paying attention, I'd make like little flyers, and I'd be like, oh, there's a show in the clubhouse at 2:00. And so I'd tell and then I would like go back and make all the kids, even if they didn't want to, like come watch the show. And it'd be like me and two girls pretending like we're TLC. And we'd be like performing like TLC songs and stuff. And, at the time, like I just thought I was going to be like a famous singer or actress, and that was kind of like my dream or whatever.
Right.
And then I would watch the all the sad like orphan movies and shit, and all those girls ended up having some blessed life at the end. You know,
you saw that and internalized it, and
so I was like, yeah, that's me, I'm Annie. Like, I'm gonna fucking get out of this with Daddy Warbucks one day. And then as I got older and I talked to my other friends, I'm like, yeah, I kind of always knew I was different or special in a way, like, but don't we all feel that way? And my friends are like, nah. And I was like, oh, weird, shit. Right? Okay, I guess not.
I always just felt, I didn't feel like special. I just felt angry that I had to deal with anything, that I couldn't just do what I wanted all the time.
It's just,
like, it just
frustrated.
Pissed me off, Yeah, I was very like frustrated and disgruntled as a kid for that reason. But so what were your like passions when you were young though? Like what did you actually find yourself putting your energy into besides TLC reenactments? Yeah.
Yeah, I just like to sing and like make plays up.
Okay.
Like my mom, I think this is just the earliest I could remember, because I have video of it now, but my mom got a camcorder for Christmas one year, and that ended up being like the best present to me ever, because I would just take her camcorder and just film myself all the time.
Right.
So I'd make up like, I would write out like a whole script for like the MTV Awards.
And you could definitely see how this ties in with the current Snapchat thing. It's like
it's that's why I'm saying life starts to make sense, because I'm like, somebody's like, man, how do you like Snapchat all the time? Or like people would be like, oh yeah, all these people stuck on social media, like nah, I just like to curate content, and I was going to be doing this whether it was on Snapchat with a camcorder, GoPro, like whatever. Right. I've been doing this since I was like 8 years old.
Did you do good in school?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were like, you tried hard, you cared?
Nah, I liked school because I just like being around my friends,
Right.
and I would skip class and go to all 3 lunches, and like, you know.
Yeah, but you ran the lunchroom. You were like the most popular girl in school, or what?
It was weird, you know. I had like a lot of friends. I was popular. I got most popular in the yearbook, but I also had fucking a lot of enemies.
Okay.
So I got into fights all the time. Like I got kicked out of my first high school, and then
I think that comes with being the most popular girl in school, is that you got to have some haters.
Yeah, and I also just like talked a lot of shit,
Right.
and I was just always like, I mean, I really don't want to. I don't know. I was just always.
Let it hang out. This is where we fucking.
I was always a white girl in the hip hop community.
Right.
You know, and
which you
that's
still
never.
are, strangely.
Yeah, and it's never been easy per
Right.
se, really. You know,
So
like
you feel like you got shit for that even when you were super young, when you were like early teens and stuff? You were super into rap
I
from
didn't
an
in
early age.
Boston because we were all white for the
Right.
most part,
That's
you
true.
know.
That's very
And then
true
there was
from
like the
my upbringing.
token black friend, and then you know when I moved down to Tampa, I was like, oh shit, look at all these Spanish people, and like, oh, more people look like my family here, and you know, and then it was just the hip hop culture was way more like. It was different, you know, like
Right.
in Boston, we were listening to Eminem and like Nelly and like Welcome to Atlanta and shit. And then when I moved to Tampa, it was just like, I felt like it was more authentic. And
Because it was more local and.
no, I just feel like, you know, there was actually young people out there making music. Like there was, it was just more of a culture there.
Yeah.
And
in New England, like people listen to rap, but there's the rap scene outside.
they're
of maybe, like,
obsessed with
Boston.
it, but they're
Yeah.
not really in it
It's not
or a
hip-hop
part of it.
community. Yeah,
It's
that's
not.
how I always felt. But people are always like, "Oh, did you go to rap shows as a kid?" I'm like, "No,
They
fucking-
didn't exist.
Yeah, or I didn't know about them. Yeah.
Yeah, so then when I went down to Florida, I was like, oh shit, like this is awesome. You know
Right.
what I mean? And I was, you know, I played basketball and I was in chorus and I was in drama.
Wow, so
and
you're an overachiever then too, huh?
I just was like I just always like to keep busy. And so because of that, I always had different cliques. Like I never had my own clique in high school. I kind of just had friends in drama, friends in music, like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd always be like, damn, like I want to hang out with all my friends at the same time. And I can't because nobody fucks with each other and that kind of sucks. So I'd always try to do things where I could bring everybody together, and that's how I started throwing parties because I was like, man, I don't want to go to your party because I also want to bring these people with me and whatever. So I'm like, yo, I'm just gonna throw my own parties and
What was the
invite
first
everyone.
party you ever threw?
It was literally one of the craziest. Like,
Really?
Still to this day, the story's so dope. It was when I turned 18, I found my birth family, and I had an uncle that just so happened to be living in.
Wait, you hadn't known your birth family until then?
Well, we were I couldn't talk to them after I got adopted because some
okay.
shit went down or whatever. But so I was like, all right, well, I'll just holler at them when I turn 18 and keep it moving. And so when I turned 18, I found out that I had family. Right, you know, a lot of my family was still in Florida. One of them was, you know, my uncle, and he was in real estate, and he felt like he wanted to make up for lost time. So he was like, yo, I know it's your senior year. I don't know if there's any parties or whatever. Would you like to use one of my houses to throw like a prom party or something?
Right.
And I was like, let me see your house. And he took me to his house, and it was a fucking mansion. Like, you know, we don't have money, so I had never even seen a house in real life like this before.
Right.
So it was like on the water, and I'm like, yo, there's no furniture, completely empty shell. So I was like, this would be the best, coolest thing ever. And he was like, yeah, no problem. And I just couldn't tell my mom because I knew my mom wouldn't let me. She never used to let me go to school dances or anything. She was super strict. So I was like, all right, Mom, you know, I'm sleeping over Sarah's for prom. And she had no idea that I like handmade 200 tickets and cut them up and like sold them at lunch under the table for $10 a pop. And like next thing you know, I had $2,000 cash, and I was like, holy
Yeah,
shit,
that's
this is
crazy.
a lot of money. Like, oh my gosh, this is a
But what
business.
were you doing with the money at the time? Or were you motivated, like, I need to make money? Or was it just kind of a side effect?
Yeah, no, I was doing it because I just wanted to do something cool for my friends, like throw a rager. And
Right.
then once I saw how many people wanted to come, I was like, oh, maybe I should sell tickets.
Right.
And then I sold tickets, and that allowed me to do cooler things at the party. And then I had like, you know, $1,500 left over, and I was like, damn, I got to move out and like start building my dreams. So I can't do it at home. My mom's too strict. Like, I got to get out of here. So
Did you have jobs in high school?
Yeah, I've been working since I was 13.
Really?
So
What kind of jobs?
I started a lemonade stand when I was 13, and I literally made like $100 a day,
Really?
which is a lot of money.
Yeah, just on the side of the street.
Yeah, and I would sell like, I would take those Lisa Frank sticker packs and like sell individual stickers for like 50 cents a pop at school, or like, when there's a test and you don't have a pencil, you like get marked off a grade or whatever. So I would always keep a pack and like sell them for $1 each.
Right.
So I guess I was always kind of thinking of ways to make money, but then my first real job was Tijuana Flats, which was tight as fuck.
Which is what, like a restaurant thing?
Yeah, it's like a Tex-Mex concept,
Right, yeah.
but I love hot sauce, and they had like it was the only job that had like an incentive for under 18-year-olds to make commission that I could think of.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So their incentive was like, they had like a company-wide hot sauce selling contest, and if you won, you would get like bonuses on your checks. So I was like out to be the best hot sauce
That's
seller.
funny that you recognize like the value of commission at a real young age, because I did too. I used to sell shoes at Sears, and I just remember like when I realized like, I can actually make money like at the rate of how I'm working. Yeah, I was like, I'm like, this is so much better than bagging fucking groceries.
Yeah, because I would be serving like I would, but actually my first job was Sweet Bay, so I was bagging groceries first.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It was like a cash and carry, or like Florida's version of like a Publix. So I was like, damn, I'm like, I'm way nicer to all these customers and working way harder than the next person. We both get hourly wage. Like, I'm like, this company doesn't understand what they have in me. Like, I need like commission or something,
Right.
Then I found Tijuana Flats, and I was like, so I could get paid hourly, make tips, and sell hot sauce for an extra $1. Like, this is lit, And then kind of just fucking served, my way through college, and was like throwing parties and doing club stuff. And then was like, all right, I think I reached my glass cap in Tampa. It's time to go to Miami and do this.
So you started off doing parties in Tampa, and then that was like a big change, was like making the move to Miami?
Yeah.
Just because it's a totally different scale?
Yeah, I think like the first time I realized I needed to move was I got invited by a club owner to come and host a party at a club because he wanted fun, cute girls in the club because the Yankees were coming in that night.
Wow, okay.
And he told me that, and I wasn't even 21 yet. He was like, yeah, the Yankees are coming in. Like, I want like fun girls in there to make them like spend money or whatever. And I was like, I had never even heard of anything like that.
Okay.
Like, I had never even like met anybody famous or anything, and I was like, damn, well, I'm a Red Sox fan, and if I could have anything to do with making a Yankee spend money, like, I'm all about it. And I could tell
but also
my
have
dad,
a good time. Yeah, like
Yeah,
you're
and
also
I'm
helping
like,
them have fun and celebrate.
Yeah, shout out the Yankees. And I'm like, and on top of that, I was like, damn, I'm not even 21. I could get into this lit ass club, like, and drink for free with my friends. Like, all my friends are gonna think I'm the coolest person ever. Like, yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
And I did that, and there's really not a lot of like stuff going on. And there was the Bucks and the Rays and the Yankees in town for spring training. But I realized, like, I became the go-to person for these guys to hit up. Like, I had a blast with Jabba, and we fucking went shot for shot. And, like, I was like, these guys are mad cool. And I realized, like, early, I was like, why are these, it started happening where people would hit me up like, oh, Julz, what's going on this weekend or whatever. And I kind of became that person.
Right.
And I'm like, why? Somebody asked me like, why do they hit you up? Like, I've been doing parties out here for years, or I own the club, and I would like pay attention, and I'm like, probably because you guys all treat them like they're not human beings. Like,
right.
For me, I wasn't nervous or shy or whatever around them. I was just there to have a good time, and I would realize, the waitresses, the club owners, like checking up on them, like, are you good? Everything okay? Like, want me to get you a water? Like, want me to suck your dick? It was just like fucking. You
should probably clarify that.
Yeah, don't take a soundbite. Don't take a soundbite, please. But can I have a bite?
Yeah.
But, I realized, like, all these people just make these people feel, like, these celebrities feel mad uncomfortable and, like, out of place. And that's probably why they want to hang out with me, because I'm just being myself.
So you have this very, like, bubbly, outgoing, like, friendly personality. But I'm thinking that probably some people would be curious, do you deal with, like, anxiety or depression? Or are you always, like, 100% on go, like, with your personality? Or do you, like, sulk and feel bad for yourself sometimes?
Laylee. What?
There is no middle ground.
Laylee says there's no middle ground. That it's just
no middle ground for Julz.
Okay.
So
it's either you're doing really good or you're just bummed, or is
I'm
it
like
always
90,
you're doing good?
Yeah, I'm like always up. I'm
Always up.
It's probably a little overwhelming for people like a Laylee because she's like real chill.
Wait, so what do you mean? Like you always are just like going 100% like all the time? Like you just have a really hard time chilling?
Yeah, I'm not. The only time I chill really is when I'm high.
Okay.
And I need to smoke a lot to make that happen. But I don't know. I don't know if like I have this theory that maybe my parents being on drugs like had an opposite effect on me.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, you're
something.
supposed to have mental issues when you grow up in this kind of environment, but then you seem very...
No, and I have siblings, and they all have issues for the most part.
Really, like drugs and all kinds of weird stuff? Or?
Just different stuff, you
Right.
know, like my brother has an anxiety and he was like, literally, you know, there's physical effects that come from, doing drugs when you're pregnant. So like my brother had to get eye surgery so he wasn't cross-eyed. And then like little things like your ears being low or like you'll have anxiety for high ceilings or what, like my brother won't even look at people when he talks to them.
Really?
It's like complete opposite of me, like locks himself in his room, you know? And for me, I'm like, all right, am I gonna find out? Like, I'm like, all right, there's gotta be something wrong with me. I just gotta figure it out. But I think, I don't know. I think I'm 90% of the time like this. And then there's just those days where it's either that time of the month or I've been like on a fucking tour or something. You know, like it just happened. Like I was just low. Because I went to Haiti, I came back. I had been traveling for like 5 weeks, and I was supposed to go to Coachella that weekend.
And I saw you on Twitter saying like that you took a day or two off, and then you were like, "Oh my God, I'm so ready to go!" Like,
yeah. So I was like, "Yo, me and Aleli were supposed to." So she came to Haiti with me, and I had been traveling for 4 weeks. I was so tired already, even going to Haiti. And then when we went there, that was definitely like taxing on like mind, body, soul, you know, and we had like 4 days in between before we had to go to Coachella, and I called her and I was like, yo, I can't do Coachella, like I just can't be around all those people right now, like I'm not in the mood to snap. I was like hired by brands to go cover stuff out there, and I just canceled everything and
Really?
was like, I'm going to Atlanta to hide away with my married friend who has nothing to do with any of this entertainment shit,
Right.
and like, you know, I'm turning my phone on airplane mode and I'm trying to balance my chakras. And, you know, went for like a spiritual dive or whatever, and that's the thing, like, I'm so used to being like this that when I wake up and I'm like a little off, I kind of freak out.
yeah. Do you feel guilty when you have to turn down opportunities to like snap for brands and all this shit? All the stuff you're supposed to be doing at Coachella, like I would feel guilty if I like had like
I
important
definitely
obligations.
I felt guilty, but I also never like to underdeliver. I always want like my work to be my best work, and if I was in a mood to not be around people, then they're definitely not getting what they want out of me, so I wouldn't even do, you know, it's like turning in like an unfinished product or something. Right. So I just explained to everybody like, hey guys, you know, they all follow my channels. They saw I was in Haiti and traveling a ton, and I was like, yo, you know, I'm really tired. I just gotta like recoup and get my energy back, and everybody was super cool and understood. So
you couldn't chill in Haiti?
No. We were there with like fucking 70 people.
Oh, okay.
And we were doing things like, you know, going to orphanages, like
it was
like,
that kind of trip. Okay.
Yeah, you know, and there was one chill day that we had on the beach, and I, of course, spent that day setting up a meeting about how we should do the next Haiti trip with the people that were there.
Right.
So there was no time, but it was really more or less like mentally, I just wasn't concerned with the things that, you know, people in our world are concerned with.
And Coachella is overwhelming as fuck, I'm assuming, even in comparison to like a nightclub. Yeah, you're in the nightclub situation every night, but Coachella is some whole nother shit.
Yeah, I love Coachella. It's such good vibes, and it's like, you know, but it's just a lot. It's like parties. We got to go to this show. We got to go to that show. Oh my gosh, there's so many people here. Let's link up. Let's do a pot. And I'm like, yo, I don't care about any of this right now. Like, I just had like a crazy experience, and I just want to like kind of let that settle in and feel like being around people again, because I don't really feel like being around people right now. So I'll get like three of those days every 2 months maybe. Yeah. Where I just need to recharge.
That's why I feel like I need to go hard for a couple months, and then I need to like go hang out with my mom for a couple days or something. Yeah.
I always, and that's the thing, like when it's so funny you said that, because when I woke up and I was like, yo, I can't do Coachella, I don't want to do it. I called my mom and I drove home that same day. And I just feel like it's so necessary when you feel like that, like to just go home, because that's the root of everything, and it's like it's like plugging the plug in the socket.
Right.
You know, like my mom, my niece, my dad, my brother, like they give me that energy and like remind me of why I just spent 5 weeks traveling,
and their lives
no
are so
sleep.
simple in comparison to yours too, that it's just like, oh, like, and they love you so much, and they just
for nothing. Like they just love you, just, you know.
When I'm around my nephews, like I have a 2-year-old nephew named Henry, and like my sister, like just seeing the way that they are, and I'm like, I'm glad that I've like devoted myself to trying to like be the best person I can be and build something out of my career or whatever. But to see them, that they've like taken their entire lives and devoted it to just their kids and just loving each other, it's like it's so dope and foreign and like healing for your mind, you know?
Yeah, or even just simple things like my mom saying like, Julz, just eat. Whoever's texting you right now can wait for you to eat, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, like why am I letting this take away time from like me enjoying a meal right now? Like I need to just like turn off for a second and just be present and enjoy my space, you know.
So let's talk about that, turning off and like being present in the moment, because this is a real challenge for people like us who are glued to their phones, working all the time, no matter what we're doing.
For our whole generation.
Yeah, but especially someone like you, I'm assuming that you because you're working off your phone. Like that's the reason why you don't have to be in the office physically all day, is because you're able to look at your phone. But so how do you turn off, and how do you like manage, like, do you find your phone being like a source of stress most of the time, or what?
I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Man, I don't have the answers yet. Like, I'm just trying to find, like Aleli said, like, there's no middle ground. I don't know if it's because I'm a Pisces. I could blame it on that or whatever, but I'm very, like, 100% all in all the time. So, like, I'm either taking a month off or working 24 hours a day.
Right.
Like, there's no, like, I'm working Monday through Friday and taking Saturday and Sunday off.
That's
Like,
the
I don't know how
challenge,
to do that. So, you know, I've definitely lost myself in a sense, like, to keep it a buck, like never not working is my slogan. It's on my bags. Like I live that, and I realized like through living that, I've lost some aspect of actually living.
Right.
So I'm just trying to find balance. Like we were talking about it yesterday. I just got Reiki. I'm trying to maybe change my eating habits. Like really just trying to take better care of myself.
Wait, so do you feel like physically stressed out and stuff, or do you feel like it's like kind of running you down sometimes?
I just feel like I'm not being the best friend, the best boss,
right,
the best potential girlfriend I could be, because all I care about or am focused on right now is work.
Right.
And I'm like, that's cool and all, but like, you know, I had to tell myself like, okay, chill out. You're not hungry anymore.
Right.
Like you got a nice place, you got a car, you got this business. Like,
but doesn't that scare you? Like the idea that if you start to balance your life out, then maybe you won't be as good as you are, or somebody else will swoop in for your spot? That's how I feel. If I fucking chill out, then. But
you know, like for instance, here's a great example. Is like I miss Coachella, but the world goes on.
Yeah.
You know, like. I don't feel like I missed out. Like, I'm fine. Like, I'm still, you know what I mean? Like, it's okay. Like, I can miss things, and I feel a lot better mentally, like, I feel recharged.
Right.
So I'm like, imagine if I would have fucking went, I would be like, I don't even know right now. So I'm like, you know, you got to pick and choose your battles.
Yeah.
And I think it's all like, if you got to find out what works for you. Everybody's different. Like me, I could run 90% of the time and then use 10% to like chill out. Some of the girls that work for me can't. And I have to learn them and understand what makes them work at the best of their capabilities. So I'm getting the most out of employing them, and they're getting the most out of it and still inspired and passionate about producing good work for me.
But with employees, is it tough for you? Like, I mean, we'll get to like how you started your agency or whatever, but in terms of hiring and stuff, is it weird for you because most people don't have the energy levels that you have, and most people are not 100% motivated all the time?
It's super frustrating. It's so frustrating because I just feel like, damn, how come nobody wants to work?
Right.
You know, but I also, when I do find people I feel have potential, I let them know off the bat, like, look, this is as organized as I can make it right now. I'm crazy. I'm letting you know right now, I'm crazy. Like, last minute shit's gonna happen. I'm gonna wanna throw a party on the other side of the country in 24 hours, and you're gonna have to help me make it happen. And
right.
like, you know, there's going to be times where it's like South by Southwest weekend and we might sleep 3 hours a night and wake up and go to 20 showcases, throw a party. Like, I'm still going to ask you to develop get the pictures ready and get them to me right after the party at 5 a.m.
Right.
But like, you could sleep the next day, you know? So, you know, it's been like hard because, you know, like it's been hard to find a good videographer because it's like,
someone who's actually willing to go with that schedule.
Somebody like, look, we're not going to have a call sheet for you, bro. Like, I'm going to land in LA, post a picture, and then I'm going to get hit up by 10,000 people like, yo, let's have a meeting here. Let's do this. Want to throw a last minute? And then I'm just going to let you know what we're doing as we go because that's just how I run my stuff sometimes.
Yeah, it's like
we plan ahead as much as we can.
Yeah, you're with me, and then I'm telling you what to do, and you're along for the ride. But it's kind of hard to find people who are like down with that relationship, you know? Like you're such a big personality that it's almost like they're not able to, you know, it's like I'm this, so you can't be this at all.
Well, it's actually more or less like we're going to work really hard and you just have to be down to rock out and be aggressive. But it's the upside of it is, you know, I'm down to create and I'm an inspired human being and I like being around inspired individuals that talk about ideas. So like, you could go work somewhere else if you want and have hours set out for you and know what you're doing, you know, for the next 5 months. But if you have a cool idea, is your boss going to listen to you? Or, you know, do they care if they tell you to do something and you don't really think it's cool and you think it's lame? Are they going to listen to your feedback? Like, probably not, you know? So for me, it's like, all right, this girl, Colby, works with us and she didn't really feel like she had a place at the agency. She was like, I kind of just had her doing different things because I wasn't sure what it was I wanted her to do. I just knew I liked her. And then one day I was just like, you know, she's like, I don't really feel like I have a place. And I'm like, well, what do you like to do? You know, what is it that you're passionate about? She's like, I love music. I was like, yo, start making playlists. I was like, well, start a SoundCloud. I was like, start making playlists. I'll let you run it. Like, it'll be the agency SoundCloud. I'll brand you as the music girl. And
this is where the New Music Monday thing came from? Is she started it, basically? Yeah. Really?
So that's how it happened, you know? And a lot of the times, and I always shout her out, like, yo, Miss Cash, New Music Mondays, like, I always give her credit. And a lot of the times, at any agency or anywhere you go, like, it would be like, all right, this is my company. New Music Mondays is mine. It's like, you know, I don't need to tell people whose idea it was. Like, the companies don't give a fuck. Like, you're not going to get credit for anything or be able to build your own brand. Has anyone ever accused
you of, like, taking the credit for, like, the stuff that your agency does as a whole? Like, do you sometimes deal with that?
I mean, people are like, oh, Spotify had new music playlists and like this isn't a new... Look, there's no new idea under the sun. The Earth's been around for a very long time. Like, I'm not saying I'm the first person to make a playlist with new music.
Right.
I'm just branding it how I see fit. And if my shit pops off before yours did and you've been doing yours for years, like, I'm sorry.
Right.
You know, I'm just doing what I love to do.
Right.
So, you know, it happens all the time. Like, and people will just choose to believe what they want to believe. It's so frustrating. Like, I dropped a freestyle for this artist that I'm managing now the other day. Like, her name's Shake. She's super dope. I was hoping she would be here with me, but she's on a plane. So, her and her squad, 070 out of Jersey, they just decided to make a freestyle on 420. So obviously a freestyle is usually over someone else's beat. Like, that's how it fucking works, you know? And I dropped the song and I was like, 070 freestyle. And then this kid who made a song with the beat, which, by the way, there were like 4 guys who made a song with the beat, were like, my version's better. Like, you're just stealing, like, you know, give credit where credit's due. And I'm like, bro, you see the word freestyle in the title. Yeah. Obviously, we're not doing anything with this song. Nobody's making money off of it. It's a freestyle. We were inspired by, I don't even know if it was you or somebody else because I'm just the manager here. But, you know, everybody wants to take it out on me all the time because I'm the face. And then I'm like, you see freestyle, but you're choosing not to see that's in the title and act like this is a song we're going to try to push.
Right.
You know, so I'm still trying to learn not to argue with these people, man.
Is that you want to take this or something? It's ringing. There's a buzz on the table. It'll make things go crazy.
Yeah, I don't know.
No.
I just ignored it.
All right. So you moved to Miami, and like, how do you build this empire, and how does it eventually end with you opening the agency or whatever? Like, what has to happen between you moving to Miami and you opening your business?
I had to. People had to piss me off.
Wait, so you got pissed off like in doing the party thing and just got motivated?
Nah, I moved to Miami and this is such a sensitive subject right
Let's
now.
do it. Come on, air it out.
I moved to Miami and I worked for a marketing, I started as a hostess for, you know, a big club out there. And I was like, yo, like, you know, I was just a hostess checking people in, but I'm like, hey, I'm noticing that clients are checking in like after this time. Like maybe this is a cool way we could get clients to come in earlier, or they're coming and they're only spending money between the hours of such and such. So I was obviously trying to be more than a hostess, you know?
Yeah.
And I would like come to the club all the time with like these concepts or whatever, ways that I wanted to improve or, you know, be a larger part of the party.
And they didn't give a shit?
Nah, they didn't give a shit. They were like, oh, that's cute. Like, you know, go back upstairs and
Right.
make sure you're in heels. We noticed you changed the sneakers this time. Like, we have to wear, and dude, everything was just like, I was like, bro, I hate wearing heels up here for however many hours a night. I hate being in the lobby watching these prostitutes walk old men to the ATM and get cash out, go upstairs, and then do it again with 3 other guys all in the same night. Like, this shit's just depressing.
It's lit.
It's lit. Like, I was like, yo, these parties are whack. There's no vibes. It's all just people out with their cell phones. Like, I just fucking hate this world. I just want to do my own parties. And so I stopped working for that club. And before I did, I was like, yo, you know, just give me a chance to promote. And so they gave me a chance to promote. And then I just felt like I wasn't really getting credit, you know? So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to start my own business. And I'm going to start doing my own party. So I started doing my own party, and the party started popping. It was FDR Mondays. And everything was going really well. I noticed that all the, like, you know, VIP clients that were going to the other club that I had made contact with were hitting me up, asking me where to go when they would come into town, and they would choose my party over, like, you know, that club or whatever. And I was like, damn, so I must have the juice, you know? And then, and then as I was like, you know, say it's like, you know, Manziel and me are partying in Miami, and fucking that's a whole other whatever. So he posts a picture of me. Now all of a sudden I have all these Texas fans or like followers, you know? And then it's like, oh, I'm working with Braun. I have all these followers in Ohio. And so my socials started going up. I started getting, you know, Travis's fans, everybody. So I had this thing where like my numbers were going up fast. And
But did you feel like you weren't really doing anything with the following you were getting?
Yeah, I was like, you know, like, damn, I'm popping, but okay, what's next? Like,
Right.
you know, so then that's when brands started taking notice and wanting to give me free stuff to feature them and stuff like that. And then I knew immediately that was a opportunity to make profit. So
This is funny because this is like the tale of like so many hot girls on the internet is like they get that fan base and then they have to figure out what to do with it. And I'm just glad that you didn't become a rapper. Because that's normally what it seems like they do.
Really?
Yeah, because it's like they got to figure out something, or it's like a jewelry line, or you know,
yeah, or
we all
they're
know
just,
these
you
girls,
know,
yeah.
out here doing teas and
Right.
waist trainers and shit. What? No shots though. No
Respect
shots.
to the waist trainer slang and scene.
So look,
now.
like my thing is like, yo, we're at a time, what a time to be alive. Like social media is allowing people to make easy money. Go for it. I'm never gonna knock anybody's hustle. If you can make fucking thousands of dollars promoting tea on your Instagram, cool. But my thing is like, think long term, because what's gonna happen when is that your mom?
Can you just grab that? Sorry. I thought you were going to answer it. That would have been really funny. Sorry about that.
Yeah, shout out to the real phone.
So the actual house phone.
telephone.
Little house phone.
That's lit. But it's like, yo, what if somebody like hacks your Instagram and you lose all your followers? Or, you know, what's gonna happen when, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, you're an opportunist. You saw that you were getting this fan base and you're like, oh, I'm going to make something out of this one way or another, right?
yeah, I was like, let me make this thing legit. And I was just like, look, I noticed that brands were trying to reach a demographic and they were trying to get certain content and they were going to the wrong people to get that content. And it's like, I'm a beer and I want to reach 21 to 28-year-olds in the hip hop demographic. So I'm going to, you know, go do this lame show with some lame artist that nobody really cares about,
Right.
and then hire Julz to cover it on Snapchat for X amount of dollars. And I'd be like, hold up, whose idea? Like, yeah, I'm interested in taking this check and covering this on Snapchat for you,
Like,
but
I'll do it, but I could do every part of this job better.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, honestly, I could do that, but it's still not gonna make you cool because, like, no, I'm just gonna be showing whack content. I was like, yo, why would you pick this rapper? Who's the DJ? Like, you know, how are you getting your beer integrated into this? Like, and you know, I just started having those conversations, and the brands were really giving me. I was getting great feedback on my ideas, so I was like, let me start an agency and just start curating for these people and make this a real thing and get a real check for it. And
Right.
that's how I made my social media following something sustainable. But like for me, I know those girls, you know, that are beautiful and they get millions of followers because they dated a singer, whatever, Justin Bieber or something. And I'm like, yo, okay, Makeup Forever or whoever wants you to do a post for them, like that obviously means that you're able to get people to buy makeup. Have you ever thought about starting your own makeup line or whatever? And, you know, I was even like early, like 23, telling these girls like, yo, I'll invest.
Right.
Or like, stop fucking posting workout videos, 15-second workout videos so that you could promote a fat burning pill. Why don't you become a personal trainer? I know this gym works with all the athletes and the Miami Heat. Like, why don't you come over here, get your certificate?
We're still so early in social media that it's like people haven't fully realized all the opportunities that might be able. They go for like the super basic ones.
They just want the quick check, and there's no longevity in that, and it's really a shame because, you know, what are you gonna do when all this shit disappears? Like, own your content, like own your following, start an emailing lists, you know, get those emails so that it's not just on an app that you don't have any control over.
So you didn't go to college or anything?
I did. I went to college for like 2 years.
But for what?
I changed my major like 3 times. But first it was broadcast journalism, then it was anthropology, and then it was social work.
But did you feel like you always just kind of like inherently understood business and marketing and stuff, or was that just, did you go out of your way to educate yourself in certain ways, or did you just kind of pick it up over time?
I don't know. I'd love to say that I went out of my way to educate myself, but I can't. Like, I kind of just always played it by ear and never really paid attention to anything. And I'm starting to learn about that now. Like, you know, I've like made certain statements, or I'll say something and then I'll realize, like for instance, I thought it was such a groundbreaking idea that I wanted to drop Shake's, you know, that we wanted to drop Shake's project as a short film. Not make the music available, just do a short film, because we were talking about, okay, well, with this song we want to do this video, and I'm like, yo, these are like real story plots and they all seem to coincide. Why don't we just do one big film and make the different videos episodes and then drop that, let people hear the music there, and then drop the music on a platform like a couple weeks later.
Right.
I thought that that was like a brand new idea, you know. Obviously, Beyonce just fucking smashed
like
that.
Yeah.
But, you know, even before her, I'm sure there were people that did it. People, you know, and I mentioned it on Twitter, and I was like, damn, Beyonce did this. I had this idea, and people were like, where have you been? Like, Michael Jackson did that, and then this. And I'm like, oh, shit, I need to probably learn a little bit more before I make these statements, you know. So now I'm finally, like, at 26, going into the research phase of trying to figure out, you know, now that I know I definitely want to be in the music industry, I'm like, all right, who came before me? What did they do?
Right.
You know, why'd they get attention? And
but do you have any like OGs that specifically like taught you the game? Like anybody that would come to mind that you should shout out?
You know, nah.
Not specifically?
Not really. Like, if you would have asked me that question 2 years ago, I'd be like, oh yeah, so-and-so kind of, and so-and-so kind of. But then as you get older,
you probably superseded almost everybody that you like would have learned from early on, because you've blown up pretty quick.
And what's crazy about it is like just to see the way people act when you kind of blow up. It's like, but I always credited you as like, you know, somebody that I would look to for advice, or, you know, had a hand in helping me get here. And now that I'm here, I'm trying to call, you know, you have animosity towards me, or like, you know, you're kind of going out of your way to like sun me or whatever. It's kind of annoying. I think, you know, I really think like there's certain people in the world that are comfortable enough with themselves to pass the torch.
Right.
And I think that there's a small percentage of those people. And then there's people who are not comfortable enough, and you know, anytime they see that maybe they're not getting the shine that they want, and the person that they groomed is getting that shine, that's the, you know, it's the old tale. Like, but the thing is that the people that are smart enough will realize, like, look, I can't do this forever. I want to get married and have kids and fucking die one day, you know, and I want my legacy to live on. So I should probably light this person up and like have them light more people up, so I'm here forever. But people don't see it that way. And so, you know, I'm learning that more and more as I grow, unfortunately, that people just don't see it that way. So I don't really have anybody to
How much
shout.
of an effect do you feel like you being a woman, not to mention an attractive woman, has to do with the amount of respect that you get in not just the music community, but in the business community? I'm sure this is a constant factor, right?
You know, like I really hate to say it, but it's a big problem. Like, you know, I feel like, and I used to be like, man, what is this girl talking about? It's not that difficult, you know. And I would hear people say that, I'd be like, look at me, I'm doing it, you know, and I'm a girl, I'm not having any issues. But the fact of the matter is like, you won't really have issues until you get to a certain point.
Okay.
Or maybe you will, like, initially, you know, maybe you're trying to apply somewhere and your boss, like, doesn't even care about your application because you're cute. And, you know, there's obviously pluses to being attractive in life, period. If you're a guy, if you're a girl, people like aesthetics, people like beautiful things. That's why Instagram popped off and then photography became a thing and all this stuff. Like,
for anybody, like, if you're super ugly, life is gonna be harder. If you're a good looking guy or a woman, you know.
It's exactly. But then there's also the flip side of that, where it's like, you know, sometimes I wonder, like, sometimes I'm like, yo, I wish I kind of looked a little bit different because maybe I would get the respect I deserve in this situation. Or, you know, I wouldn't have to constantly overachieve for people to give me credit for, like, my work because, you know, it's automatically attributed to, of course, you know, I accomplish everything that I have because I have a fat ass. Like, that's the only reason why. You know,
how do you feel about the fact that has to get brought up, like, in the conversation about who you are right away? Like, that people try to turn that into your identity of just being hot or having a dom.
Yeah, I mean, it's annoying, but I think, like, you can steer those conversations. You know what I mean? Like, I'm definitely not. It's not killing me, but it's like you can't deny the truth. You know what I mean? So as much as people want to say, like, I wouldn't be here if I wasn't curvy or if I wasn't cute or whatever. Like, there's tons of curvy, cute girls out there, and nobody's doing. You know,
and they're selling tea.
And they're selling tea, which is great.
Which is dope. Shout out to the tea slangers. Yeah.
But, you know, like, that's not going to discredit everything I've done, you know. And on top of that, if anything, it's kind of a struggle because people, not the rappers or you know, musicians and stuff, but, like, the labels, the agencies, like you know, these people who are sitting in the office in their suits, like, looking at me online and trying to decide whether or not they want to hire me or interview me or whatever. It's those people that you kind of have to let know who you are, in a sense. I don't know.
So are you more likely to face, like, sexism in the boardroom or with brands versus, like, rappers who, like, are actively rapping, like, things that are theoretically offensive to women? Like, but do you have good relationships with those people on average?
No.
Or do you think they respect you?
It's a problem all around.
Okay.
Honestly, I'm in a good space right now where I feel like I definitely am getting a lot of love and respect from, like, the music community.
Yeah.
And
because I don't really see people hate on you that much. It's like little Twitter eggs.
Yeah, but
I
it's
haven't
never
seen,
like
a real
an artist
backlash.
or like, So, like, usually those people respect, and they're like, and they come like, yo, Julz, you know, I'm so excited, like, to see what you're doing. Like, we definitely got to collaborate and do something together. And it's like, let's work, you know, and that's a blessing. But then there's also, you know, some people people are always going to shoot their shot. Like one artist's manager that I was trying to book this artist, and since day one, he always was like, he asked me to dinner.
Yeah. Okay.
And he's like, yeah, you know, I'm like, yo, so let me know if I could book so-and-so for this date. We're trying to do X, Y, Z. And he's like, all right, let me know if I could get that dinner. And it's like, no, you fucking clown.
That's crazy.
You can't get the dinner. And I'm trying to put $20,000 in your artist's pocket. Like, what's wrong with you? You know what I mean? I wonder if your artist is aware of that. So it's just like little situations like that. And then it got to a point where, like, months later, this manager needs to lean on me for a release.
Right.
You know, so he reaches out to me and is like, yo, you know, I really want to do X, Y, Z with you. I'm like, oh, cool. So we could forget about the dinner. Like, you know what I mean? It always comes full circle.
But do you think he's just a meathead and he just don't know that that's inappropriate, or he just can't help himself?
People need to, let's go over a few things. Ready?
Let's do it. Girl talk.
Yo, never refer to a woman as ma in a business setting.
Okay, yeah.
Like, rule number one.
What if you're like Fat Joe?
Or babe. Or what? I don't give a
Babe,
fuck.
yeah.
It's so
You called me
offensive.
babe via text earlier, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah, I say babes because I think it's kind of funny.
You're like circumventing gender norms there, though.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like, yeah, I
You're doing
started
it to
doing
me
that
before I had a chance to do it
subconsciously.
to you, yeah.
Exactly. So, you know, we develop little tricks. But, you know, let's just like, let's be respectful. If there's a girl out there that's doing cool things and, like, you have any kind of interest in working with her or even starting a conversation, like, you know, don't bring up her looks. Don't call her by a nickname. Like, you know my name. Like, let's just keep it on that path and just treat each other like humans. Because I feel like guys let what's in between their legs mess things up for them so much because that's what they think with, and whatever.
And that's fine, but in a business setting, it's like, don't like especially that's the thing that I deal with, in the sense that like when I hit up girls to interview them, I know that I'm going to come across creepy even without trying, because you have to like try really hard to not come off that way, because girls are so like trained to think that
I'm pretty chill, and I'm like, as like a girl power as I am, like I'm not automatically thinking that, just don't tell me. Like I got a text the other day, like and I called him and told him off. A friend of mine that I've known for years, we were planning an event together this weekend in DC. And I was like, yo, so I want to see the permits for the venue. I want to make sure that they're able to have noise past a certain time, blah, blah, blah. Like all these things that I wanted to see proof of. And he's like, oh, yeah. I'll get that to you. A couple of days goes by and he's like, hey, Julz, we're getting the flyer ready. I'm like, yo, no flyer is going to get ready until I see these permits. Like we need to hash out the details before we get into marketing. Mm-hmm. And then he gets back to me. He writes me an email, and it's like, oh, so, we decided that we just want you to host the event instead of produce the event. We can pay you X, Y, Z, and that way you won't have to worry about the heavy lifting.
Okay.
And
so
I'm like,
that offended.
That's offensive,
yeah.
And I'm like, am I being emotional? Am I being like an annoying feminist right now? Or did this motherfucker just try me? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to do the heavy lifting. Like, what are you talking about? You can't even get me proof of a permit.
But
what
how do you act in that scenario?
Doing?
Do you spaz out on him, or do you keep it super professional and be
so
like,
I had to
I'm not
hold
fucking
myself
with you?
back from spazzing out on Twitter, because I definitely wanted to educate people about why they shouldn't tell a girl that they should do the heavy lifting in a meeting. And then I was like, I talked to a friend of mine, and he was like, Julz, I think he means well. He probably just didn't want you to stress out about all those little things I call him. So I'm like, yo. And I called him, and he's like, that's not what I meant. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I just want you to be aware of like how it could be offensive, because, it's offensive. And, he was like, yo, that totally makes sense. Just like I've said things that are offensive, or, and people I'm down to listen. Why did this offend you? I want to know, because I don't want to offend people. That's not what I'm here to do.
Right.
So, I think it's like, we love clowning each other, and we love like just shading people these days. And instead of just having productive conversations where we educate one another on why, like, yo, you shouldn't say that because of this, instead of like, yo, fuck you, blah, 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 like your mom, it's like, let's just have a conversation about why this isn't working out.
Right.
And that's what I'm really trying to implement and encourage other
That's a
people
whole
to
like
do.
internet culture where everybody wants to be like, this guy's sexist, fuck him, he's a piece of shit. But it's like, in reality, if somebody's sexist, like the better approach, or not just sexist, but if anybody did anything, like try to have a conversation. But that's not how it works in the media and like the news cycle. It would be harder to be like the front page of Gawker, and it's like, this guy said something sexist, let's all help him out.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
weird,
it's never, it's always people trying to tear you down. So I don't know.
Have you been accused of being racist much? Because I noticed, I saw Tax Stone saying it. Shout out Tax Stone.
Shout out to Tax Stone, man. My homie Tax, just always spreading the love out there for me.
But did he just come at you this one time, or what?
Honestly, I had never heard of him prior to him like coming at me. I don't really know anything about him, if he said anything prior to that moment where he called me out or whatever. But it's been something that's been brought up recently. I'll tell you like the background story on it. I think in 2009, there's this hashtag. You know how Black Twitter makes hashtags and goes in on them. So one of the hashtags was white thoughts. So it was like Twitter going in on white thoughts, the hashtag. So
Thoughts
it's like,
with a GHT.
Yeah, this was before thought was invented.
Mm-hmm.
So this was like, when I was 19 or whatever, and I must have been, I don't fucking remember, but I was bored, obviously, on Twitter, and people were going in on the hashtag, and it was like white thoughts, like, wonder if mom, I don't know, like, people just going in on like shit that white people would say or do.
Right.
So I joined in on the fun, just like all my friends. And I got on Twitter and joined in on the fun and made fun of white people. Like, it was like white thoughts. Oh, why don't these black girls like me? And then underneath it said, walks out with light skinned dude. So I was making fun of like white girls who don't understand why, there's an issue with them dating, whatever. I'm so paranoid now on how I say things, because it just has caused such a mess. And like, I'm not here to do that. I'm not here to offend anyone.
But you're a 19-year-old girl.
I was a 19-year-old girl going in on a hashtag with my friends.
And race is funny. A lot of people don't want to acknowledge that race is funny, and and everybody gets to joke around about it, but then when you're white, it's like all of a sudden
you cannot joke about it if you're white, like, period. And the thing is that the next tweet, so there was like 3 of them, right? So that was one tweet, and then another tweet was in parentheses is another example of people choosing what they want to see and hear. So it's like, what do parentheses mean? It means it's a quote. Obviously, the person who's writing what they're writing put the parentheses there to indicate that that's something somebody else said. So there was a tweet that came from my account same year that was like,
you mean quotation marks, not parentheses, right?
Yeah, sorry, in quotation marks, not parentheses. Black women don't like me because black men do. And I'm pretty sure I was quoting like an episode of the Kardashians or something, because I remember it being something that like I thought Kim said that I thought was funny, or like that I thought was ironic. And so I put it in quotation marks and tweeted it, and obviously, somebody last year must have been looking for a reason to not like me or to have people not like me, and literally dug 7 years back into my tweets. Just remember, kids listening, like, everything you put out there is out there forever.
Yeah, did they search your name and then like black?
I don't know how they found it, because I tweet so much. I have like 70,000 tweets. So it's like, what the fuck are you doing that you were able to go and find those tweets and then present them in the way where it's like the context isn't there.
Right,
You're just pulling these out of nowhere. And so, rightfully so, people saw it and got upset. If I saw that and I didn't see the other tweets or know what kind of person I am, I would probably get upset too. So,
people don't really look at the date that much.
People don't look at people weren't looking at the date. They weren't seeing the quotation marks. They weren't seeing the hashtag, the tweet before, the tweet after. And so, and I didn't really handle people's reaction the right way. I kind of got pissed off, like, yo, fuck you guys. Like, I'm not racist. Like, you guys are just like, you're hating right now, And so that's kind of how that whole thing with tax started or whatever. But I think it's really easy to kind of be like, oh, this white girl with a butt is just out here trying to appropriate our culture or whatever. And I'm like, all right, but what are you doing to make money for the people in your culture? Tax? Or like, what are you doing to really like raise awareness or like anything? Because I like to stay busy, but I don't like to waste my time. And I would never waste my time doing something that I'm not passionate about or that doesn't really like mean something to me. So I'm not out here doing shit for no reason.
Right.
You know what I mean? I could take a trip to anywhere in the world. I could go anywhere, but I want to go to this place and help out in this country. Like, I want to go to this school and put art programs in there so these kids could like record music and do these things. Like, it's not, I don't care what you think.
People shouldn't be so eager to call somebody racist when like clearly all your other actions say otherwise, and then you find one tweet that really only reveals that you are like aware of the funny aspect of like
I'm really making fun of myself.
Yeah,
like
exactly,
really. And people didn't get that, and I was just like, all right, bro, whatever.
But they went on you for the braids too. I thought that was the funniest shit.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But it's crazy, but you know what? Somebody broke it down to me, just like the Haiti situation. I was getting a lot of flack for like posting pictures when I was on my trip and whatnot. And I understand where people are coming from. Like a lot of people were like, oh, bitch, you can't wear braids, this and that. And those people obviously didn't make me feel like I couldn't wear braids. But this one girl DM'd me a video link. And it was basically a really amazing video where it was this African-American young girl that made a great, powerful poem. And she was just talking about like, look, we're not blaming you, white girls. Like, it's not your fault. But we get frowned upon when we wear braids. And this is like our heritage, our style of like that we've been, we have to, she's like, I have to braid my hair because if not, I don't like how I look. And it's in the way. I can't work as easily. Like, if I have to put a hairnet on or whatever. But then when I show up to work with braids, my job wants to tell me it's too ghetto or it doesn't look right. But you guys wear braids, and all of a sudden Kim Kardashian starts new braid trend is like all over, all over the magazines. It's really frustrating, and it pisses us. It's not fair. And that's why it can become a problem, because society makes it a problem. It's not a problem really that people that are white are rocking a certain style braid. It's a problem that society makes it okay and acceptable and fashionable for me to rock braids, right. But it's not okay and acceptable and no, you can't wear those to work for the next person.
Yeah.
So it's like, then yeah, that's a problem, and I get it, and it's frustrating, and like I'm 100% with you on that, and but at the same time, like I'm about to host this festival in this weekend, and I'm probably gonna braid my hair because I'm gonna be jumping up and down on the stage, like rocking out, sweating, and that's the best way for me to not look
There's
crazy.
only so many things you could do with hair. I think braiding is kind of like one of the obvious ones, and hairstyles in general, I think should really just be a free for all.
And I also think like, yo, you know what? I think that racism is something that could come from anybody and go any which way. Like, it's also racist to look at a person and look at the color of their skin and assume that you know how they grew up.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, my mom's Colombian and she has an afro, and she's been braiding my hair because that's how she that's how she does her hair in the summer. She's been braiding my hair every summer since I was like adopted, since I was 9 years old. So, you never really know, like, a person, it's all relative. You never know a person's situation.
And people want to assume that you're like a crazy little rich kid that has never had to go through anything or whatever, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's all kinds of assumptions, and it just reminds me to try to not make assumptions about people, because we're all human, and like, we probably do a lot of the same things we get mad at other people for doing. But, so I just try and like take myself outside of my body and think of where a person's coming from when they say certain things and not let it upset me. But yeah, people make assumptions, but like, I never had money, I just started living this way, and it's because I worked my ass off for years and got to this point, through like good gut instincts and a lot of smart decisions. So
can we talk about the fake ass allegations that you have to deal with on Twitter 24/7 or what?
Yeah, man.
That's just, people love saying that, huh?
I don't know. It's also just another thing of assuming. Like, people automatically assume I'm just full white, because I have blonde hair and white skin, but I'm Italian and Puerto Rican. And who's to say, like, a full white girl can't have an ass this big?
So you could have the N-word pass. But I'm guessing you don't exercise that much?
No, I'd never say it. Okay. Like, it's just not
problematic.
Even. Yeah.
She started nodding right away, like, oh, yeah, she's like, got it if she wants it.
What would you say?
She was just nodding. I was like, you could have an N-word pass. And she was like, yep, she could.
Yeah, a lot of my friends have.
People don't know that she's Puerto Rican.
Right, yeah. I didn't know either, yeah. I wish
all kinds of people have been oppressed, man.
She should have had a mic.
Yeah, she should. Yeah, but it's like, a lot of races have had to go through a lot of things. This world is like however many thousands of years old. The Jews everybody's had to go through oppression, some sort. Not everybody, but most. And. Like, but anyways, who's to say I was fully Italian? Like, why couldn't I have a big ass? That's natural, Like, are you seeing what they're putting in our food? Like, and people are evolving. Like, shit's crazy out here.
Right.
But it's just so funny to me because it's kind of like a compliment.
Right.
Like, I'm like, word, you think I paid for this? Like, that's what's up.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you. And I just like having fun, like jabbing back at people when they jab at me. But it's real, know.
No,
so.
I didn't want to get too in depth about it. I just know that there's a lot of people who question that all the time.
I did go to Dr. Miami because I was super curious, like, what would it be like? Like, I went and Snapchatted a full day in his office.
Oh, really?
It was super fun.
What, because you thought about doing it?
No, I just wanted to see, what is it like to even, what's that even mean? Like, to have a fake ass? Like, what is it? Is it a shot? Is it like silicone? Like, I wanted to know, so I went over there and I was like, oh, and we had a fun little consultation and I Snapchatted the whole thing and I was like, what could you do for my boobs? Like, what if I wanted my butt to be lifted a little bit more and stuff? And we had fun with that whole thing. But shout out to everybody.
Shout out fake asses for anybody who does have one. If you're watching this, I wonder if anybody is watching this who has a fake ass. If you do, leave a comment.
Yo, if my ass was fake, it would be like way more.
Yeah, I was gonna say don't. I was gonna say you don't need that. Don't get a fake ass.
I would like. I wouldn't mind like a lift.
Okay.
Just because I don't have time to work out these days, so I definitely notice like a little bit of like a gravity kicking in, but we'll get there.
I don't know. How does it feel having like fucking weird what are they called? Paparazzi like photos posted to you online. Because when you Google you, it's like, oh, here's Julz hanging out on the beach, and she has no idea these photos are being taken. It's so weird.
That was the first time that I was ever by myself without a celebrity that people were taking, and I was so confused, bro. I was like at Soho House, and I remember Sarah was with me. I remember there was a ton of paparazzi there, and I'm like looking at them, I'm like, damn, bro. I'm like, that life must suck. I swear, we were having a conversation. I'm like, could you imagine you're just at Soho House trying to chill out with the fam on a Sunday, and like all these cameras are here flicking you up? And she's like, yeah, man, like, that might be you soon. So you just, just hope
That's
you prepared. And then literally, she said, that might be you soon. And then literally the next day, like, all these pictures, these blogs posted about me, and I was like, what the fuck?
Is it a compliment, or is it kind of cool because it gives you more coverage, or is it just annoying and creepy?
I mean, it was kind of annoying. A lot of people don't, they're a Snapchat star or a DJ. Like, I'm not a DJ, I'm not a Snapchat star. I mean, whatever, if you, like, that's not what I would label myself as. So
right.
I don't really care for, like, I'm not a believer in any publicity is good publicity. Mm-hmm. I would rather just a publication publish something legit about me. Like,
right.
It's kind of annoying. I would rather not have those pictures be the first thing you see when you Google me preparing for an interview, you know?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
It's like super fucking annoying.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't know.
What about the Snapchat thing? I mean, we haven't really talked about that. That's like, you didn't know what you were doing when you got into it at all. You just started doing it, and then it just started taking off?
No, I knew exactly what I was doing.
Really? Okay. Mm-hmm. How so? Like, you realized the potential of this even before you started doing it?
I was talking to television networks at the time and, like, production companies and getting a ton of offers for a show. Uh-huh. People were really, like, looking to do something surrounding Miami that year, and I always wanted a show or to, like, you know, have some kind of long content produced with a large company or something that could be, you know, on a large platform. So I was taking those meetings, and nothing really felt like the right fit. I felt like everybody was super corny and trying to put me in a box that I didn't want to be in, and like, oh, hot promoter girl from Miami, or like whatever, you know. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yo, I'm not gonna
I can't imagine what a TV network would do with you, like what they would try to turn you into, like image-wise. Yeah, it
would just be crazy. Yeah. So I was like, yo, I'm not taking part in any of this. I was like, I want to produce my own show. I even like hired a production company. You know, I spent like $10,000, had a production company follow me around like for Basel that year, and just try to put something together. And I was just super picky. Like, nothing was really turning out like how I wanted it. And so Snapchat came out with the video feature, the My Story sharing feature.
Right, that's when everything really changed for that, huh?
And I was like, oh, so this app's not just for sending nudes anymore. And my sisters were playing with it. And I was like, yo, how many of those videos can you upload to your story? And they were like, well, I don't know. I'm like, yo, so how long could the story be? They're like, probably as long as you want it to be. So I was like, let me play with this. Yeah. And I was playing with it, and I'm like, wow, like, this is groundbreaking. And I knew immediately, I was like, yo, I was Snapchat's biggest promoter. I was telling everybody, I'm like, yo, this is about to change the game. Like, television's gonna change. I'm like, do you understand that this is literally giving anybody with a smartphone the opportunity to have their own network and advertise whatever they want? I was like, yo, Nike needs to be on here. Beats needs to be, everybody needs to be on Snapchat.
Right.
And people were like, okay, like, all right, you're crazy. I'm not downloading another app. Like,
and
shut up.
And this is what, like 3 years before DJ Khaled?
Yeah, 3 years before anybody, like, literally. And so I was like, you know, there was a ton of reasons why I did it. One, I wanted to produce my own content, and I was never like a YouTube person because I'm not good with like computers and editing and all that shit. So this was like, all right, I don't have to sit there in front of my computer and make a video. I could just be on the go like I am with my phone and put the shit out, you know? Yeah. So that was number one. Number two, I had just started the Never Not Working hashtag, and I felt like this was my way to really show, you know, that the hashtag in real life, like, that it's really a lifestyle and not just a slogan or whatever. And I started the Never Not Working hashtag because I felt like women in Miami weren't working. And I felt like whenever I would tell somebody, like, I would be out of town and I'd meet someone and be like, oh, where are you from? I'm like, oh, I'm from Miami. And they'd be like, oh. And something would click in their head. And I felt like they were automatically judging me, like, oh, cute girl, does parties from Miami, like, escort, or she's taken care of, or whatever.
That's what's got to really suck about being a woman, is that people assume like real bad shit about you.
Really
like
bad.
Yeah,
and especially if you're a woman from a city like Miami, like, and you know what? A lot of the girls out there, it is what you assume. And it was 3 years ago. And that's why I felt like, damn, like, I need to move. I was, like, miserable. I packed up and went to Paris, traveled the whole summer, like, didn't plan on moving back to Miami. Mm-hmm. And then I came back and I was like, maybe there's something, maybe I'm just surrounded by the wrong people, and maybe I could do something to change the way things are. So, like, this was when, like, red bottoms were hot and Herbes Leger dresses, and that's what girls were posting. And, like, everybody was just posting things and celebrities and parties. And I was like, dude, people should be talking about what they're working on more, what they're passionate about more, like, how can we make this a thing? So I was like, a hashtag, and that's kind of where it started. And then to make people believe me, I was like, I could document my days since you think I'm just out here partying, mom. Or like my friends would be like, you know, oh, hey, how's everything going? I'm like, good, man, I'm just tired from work. And they're like, oh yeah, it must be so tiring, you know, doing what you do. Like, I wish I could be tired from your work. And I'm like, you go to work at like 9 and clock out at 5 and don't think about work for the rest of your day. I don't really think you understand what goes into planning an event.
The reason why their job is hard is because it's soul draining, because they don't give a fuck about it. It's like, I could very happily like work 18 hours a day because it's like, I feel motivated to do that, you know?
Exactly. And I wake up, I check my emails, I have conference calls, have my meetings, do venue walkthroughs, like freaking, you know what I mean, piece together content from the thing we did yesterday, like all kinds of stuff that I'm doing, like putting together proposals. And I'm like, my mom doesn't see that, my friends don't see that, so I'm about to show them. And that's kind of how Snapchat came about. And my stories were super long and annoying. I think they were like 20 minutes a day at that point. But I don't know how it just started catching fire. Like my snaps were just, I would just save a 10-second clip, put it on Instagram and Twitter, and advertise for people to go watch on Snapchat. And then people were like, I'm downloading Snapchat for you. And like, you know, I think people would look at my Instagram and see like all these fun looking pictures and be like, damn, how this girl's life is interesting. Like, I want to learn how I could do that or see more. And then that's why they would tune in on Snap. And then as the rest of the world caught on, you know, that's when brands started getting involved and whatnot, and that's when it started becoming a platform to make money. Like, so, shout out Ryan Seacrest and Nelson that works for him, because Ryan had he had an intern that was watching my snaps, and they were making like Ryan Seacrest did an article, like his top 7 snaps to watch. And
really?
It was like me.
And that made a big difference?
Jared Leto, Ryan, and a couple like other famous people, and it made a big difference. Yeah, my views like popped up. That's when brands started paying attention, and like real media, you know, and not just like the youth. And
when you saw Khaled explode off this shit, what was your reaction? Were you like, were you just like, that's how you do it?
I was like, yeah. I was like, yo, he killed it. Like, and then I was like, now people get it.
Yeah.
Now I was like, thank you, because I've been trying to say this for a really long time.
Like, what you doing the thing on Snapchat probably makes a lot more sense to a lot more people, because Khaled has sort of like made it so mainstream for people to understand that people are.
Yeah, I don't have to pitch anymore.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, I don't have to explain to people why they should pay me to Snapchat their festival or whatever. Well, yeah, because I'm getting 200,000 views on my story, and that little ad that you're gonna put or the little video you're gonna post is not gonna get that many views.
It's really 200K now.
Yeah.
Damn, I'm at like 20.
That's still good,
10% of the man that you are.
That's
a start.
No, that's awesome.
OnSomeShit.com on Snapchat.
OnSomeShit.com.
And Yes Julz.
Is it like DOT.com?
No, just a period, which that's very confusing for people.
Yeah, because they're not sure if you could do that on Snapchat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a great tool, and I think like we barely scratched the surface of the changes that Snapchat has made in the culture. Like, it's just going to continue to go. Look at MTV Cribs is going to be on Snapchat now.
Yeah, I saw that.
You know what I mean?
How many times have you used the dog filter?
Not a lot. I don't really do.
You don't fuck with filters.
Everybody has their own style. Like, you know, I'm not really ever just sitting around like doing things for fun.
Oh, so you don't fuck with the filters are more like, that's how you kill time.
Yeah. So like my snaps are like, hey, I'm at a meeting, I'm doing this, look at this festival here, look at this performance, like look at my mom and my niece, because I think you want to see my family a little bit, but never like.
I've never seen anything in my entire life take off in like the female community like the dog filter, though. It's like every fucking woman. I have a theory, because I think if you remove like the nose on any person, that you kind of like, that person looks more attractive if you cover like this whole part of their face. So like girls that maybe don't like the way they look that much, they put the fucking dog filter on and they're like, oh, I look like so much prettier.
That has to be, or it's just like a reason for them to like do a selfie without seeming conceited.
Yeah. But why the dog filter over every other filter?
I don't know, but I love the memes and like all the jokes about it.
Yeah.
But like also, I like the filters because it's a great icebreaker. So if you're like Snapchatting with a celeb or some kids that aren't used to the platform, you're like, oh look, we could get on here because this is like,
right.
Yeah, that's how I got Future started. You know, like with the dog filter.
Really?
Like I was like,
seriously?
oh look, yeah, I swear.
So he Snapchats heavily now because you got him into it through the dog filter.
I mean, look, I'm not trying to take credit for
attention TMZ. Yeah, this is big.
I'm not trying to take credit for anything, you know, but we were just like, you know, because sometimes it's awkward. You got to know, like, there's like rules to the snap. Like, you can't just be, I get super annoyed by people Snapchatting.
Right.
Like,
me too. Yeah.
I don't watch other people's snaps. I just snap my life. And like, when I do try to watch other people's snaps, I'm so annoyed. Or when somebody,
I might look at other people's stories if I'm like at the dentist or some shit. Like if I really got nothing to do at that moment.
Yeah,
But even
I
then,
watch Diplo's or Dylan Francis sometimes if I'm bored because they're funny.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, or just because I need to know what's going on in the market, so I'll pay attention.
Yeah.
But like, I never like run up on people and just start Snapchatting. Like there's definitely a level of finesse that needs to be in there. And I hate it when people do that to me. And people do it to me because they assume I'm the Snapchat girl, so I'm going to like it. But it's like, you got to be a little bit more smooth. So that's why I'm like, yo, you know about Snapchat? Are you on here? Look at this. Look, there's a dog filter.
Yeah.
You know, like.
You could be a dog.
You too could be a dog.
Future. Yeah, Future. Wait, so how well do you know Future? What's the extent of your friendship?
Like I just met him. Where did I meet him? In Toronto for All-Star.
Okay.
And he was mad chill. Yeah, he was so cool. He was like not what I expected him to be at all. Mm-hmm. And I think I met him at a GQ party, and I had a party with Metro that weekend.
Right.
I had booked Metro, and you know.
You think Metro trusts you?
I think he trusts me for sure. Yeah, we've gotten some checks together, you know. So it's always people could always trust you, and you're out here like bringing revenue. But I was like, yo, I just met him. We had just met, and I was like, yo, I have this party if you want to pull up or whatever. He's like, all right, I'll come. And he came with me to the party and literally performed for like 30 minutes.
Right.
And that was the most lit experience for anybody there because they did not expect Future. And I just thought it was really cool that he did that because he definitely did not have to. And, you know, I think he's cool.
Yeah. Hey, we haven't discussed this at all, but people obviously gossip a little bit about your relationships and stuff like that. Have you been in relationships throughout the past couple of years or whatever? Are you the relationship type or? Oh wow, she's dancing around.
No, I don't know, man.
You don't know what to say?
It's all fucked up, man. No, I'm just kidding.
I thought you were gonna get really sad there for a second.
For the past ever since I moved to Miami, I really kept to myself because I knew that that's what I had to do to kind of get respect and like make the name for myself that I wanted to make.
Right.
Looking this way. So I definitely didn't go on dates or I was really dry for like a long time. And then as I kind of got established, I was like, okay, people know what I'm doing out here. Like, they get it. Maybe I could go on a date, and if somebody happens to see me or whatever, it'll be cool.
A date? So you're that paranoid about people thinking that you're fucking your way to the top or whatever the stereotype might be?
I just don't want to give anybody an extra reason to discredit me.
Right.
You know?
But don't you think that's so fucked up? Because we should be encouraging women and men alike to be doing whatever the fuck they want to do sexually.
So
but
that's
then
how
we all know for women it's not that easy.
Yeah, like life is like, it's so funny. And I think especially for women, we don't get to a point where we're really comfortable with ourselves until like 25.
You think? Okay.
Like, you know, it doesn't matter how beautiful the woman is, how much like money she has, like nothing, like there's some weird thing where we really just don't, I mean, for me, but I'm just speaking off my experience and the people in my life that what I've picked up from them, like I didn't really feel comfortable in my skin until recently, like really just being able to do what I want to do and not care about offending people or like what they're going to say or what they're going to think. Like that just started happening for me like last year.
Okay.
You know, my mom's bills are paid, my bills are paid. Like I've accomplished a lot of things I want to accomplish. Like, you know, I'm going to do what I want to do now. If you have something to say about it, cool, but I'm not really concerned with what you have to say. So now I think last year I really started feeling comfortable and in my financial situation and in my career and everything. And so I'm like, all right, I could date now, you know? And yeah, there's a part of me, I'm split, because a part of me is like, yo, women should do whatever they want. Fuck a double standard,
right.
Blah, 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 blah. But then the logical business side of me is like, that's not reality right now, unfortunately.
You know
yet.
how dudes are, yeah.
We still have a long way to go. And the fact of the matter is it fair? No, but it's facts. Like, women are devalued the minute we're seen with a man. The minute a guy could say they had sex with us, a minute there's a picture up of us with someone.
Because there's like pictures of you and Future on stage, and the comments are like, you know, this dude smashed, blah, blah, blah. It's crazy. Like,
Uzi mentioned me in a song, so of course we dated. You know, of course me and Trav. Like, it's like, you know, everything. So, like.
What Uzi say about you?
Thick white girl on my side. She kind of looked like a Yes Julz. Like, it's like one of his like most quoted lines.
Oh,
so
okay.
funny.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I mean, I didn't even know Uzi when he said that. And then when I heard the song, I looked him up and I started looking. I was like, yo, and this was like before,
he's on fire
before
right
he
now.
was on fire. I was like, yo, this boy is fire. Like,
Yeah.
I got to get in contact. So obviously, like, I put him on my playlist and then we got in contact over the internet. And I was like, yo, let's do some shit together. Like, let's plan like a 6-city tour. And so that's how we became friends because of that. But you wouldn't even, people think that he wrote that song because something happened
dating,
with us. Yeah. So, but once I started realizing that people were going to make, I kind of came to the conclusion that people are going to make assumptions anyways.
Right.
Like, I wasn't dating people. I wasn't dating Trav or whatever. And I wasn't even dating any human because I wasn't allowing myself to at that time. But people were still making assumptions.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, I'm going to date. Like, I need to have sex. Women need to have sex. We want to. Like, you know what I mean? We want a companion. Like, so, yeah, I'm dating around.
Oh, she's dating around
There's
now.
a very long answer to that question, I guess.
No, it's good.
I talk
know it's
so
complicated.
much. I'm so
No,
sorry.
you're like the best podcast guest because of that. Yeah, the worst is like the people who don't talk that much.
Yeah.
We're already an hour and 20 minutes into.
Yeah. But I'm dating, but the dating shit's fucked up.
Why?
Right
Because it's in
now.
Miami?
No,
And dudes are
I'm not
trash?
even really in Miami.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'm never really in town or home, but I feel like it's just fucked up for us. Like, social media is messing it up as big of an advocate as I am of social media for business purposes. But like, and everybody's just doing stuff for other people these days.
Right.
Nobody's really doing anything for themselves. Like, I wonder sometimes, like, I don't know. I feel like I have to always worry. It's probably a lot worse for like a Kylie Jenner or somebody like that,
Yeah.
But I just would. I share every aspect of my life, but like that's the one aspect of my life that I don't feel needs to be shared, and
Right.
like I don't want it shared, and that might be hard for a man to understand because here you are, you like me, we're trying to date or whatever, and you
Yeah.
see that Julz is open, like she's got her life on Snapchat, so then all of a sudden I'm like, oh nah babe, like let's keep it low key, like I
Yeah.
don't want to hold your hand in this spot because
But are we
people might
talking
take pictures.
regular ass dudes or are we talking famous dudes or well known
Anybody,
dudes?
like a regular dude, like
But could you see yourself dating a super regular dude or?
Yeah, I could. Yeah,
Okay.
like I've dated. That would be the only guy that I would, allow myself to date up until recently. Like I've happened to, whatever, fall for somebody who's not regular. But I definitely would rather date a regular. And it's hard. I don't know what I want, man.
Yeah.
I want a regular guy,
You're
but then
25.
I'm like, I don't want a regular guy because he's not gonna understand my lifestyle, and I'm not trying to argue and like check in with you and like explain why there's pictures of me with Future or whatever, So it's like a part of me wants a regular guy because I don't want to have to deal with the shit that comes with dating.
It'd take a real stud
regular
to have
guy.
the confidence to date a girl like you, I think,
Yeah, and yeah, you just have to be you have to be like secure in yourself, and it's just I'm really busy and happy already. So I feel like anybody that I kind of let in that sense, you have to be adding something to the equation. Like, what are you
Right.
bringing to the table besides your dick?
Right.
Like, are you motivating me? Are you inspiring me? Are we inspiring each other? Are we pushing each other forward? Like, are you listening to how my day was when I want to stress out? Like, trying to make my life easier in any way, shape, or form? Because that's what I'm going to do for you as a
Right.
good partner. So, and if you're not doing those things, then why would I want you here? Because I already have enough going on. I don't need to add extra shit to the plate.
Right.
So
Unless it's bettering you, in some
exactly.
way.
Like it has to be, I think like, a relationship isn't, you have to coexist and like live your life and be with somebody who's living theirs and just add a little sparkle to it.
I always will be in like a couple month relationship, and then at some point I'll just have to take stock of it and just be like, I'm happier without this. I really got to let this one go. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
weird.
I'm also like, I'm super all in or all out, which
Exactly,
I already
yeah.
mentioned. So like, I could get distracted, and
Right.
I'm a little afraid of that in a sense, because like I'll dedicate my whole being to a person,
Right.
and I'm just on a roll right now with everything else, so I don't really know if it's a time for that, and I don't know how to balance yet.
Right.
So I feel like it'll happen when it's time.
True. Can I just ask too, like, you work with a lot of brands and stuff. Do they ever give a fuck about like things like you smoking weed on Instagram and shit like that, or is that cool?
Yeah, so I never used to smoke. I used to be really careful about.
I know. I noticed that you didn't used to post it, and then today when I was looking through it, I'm like, she has a Corona and a fucking bullet in her mouth. That's interesting.
Yeah, so Wiz actually is the one who kind of made me. I was
Smoke
interviewing. Nah, I've been smoking for a very long time because I have
met Wiz
problems.
Khalifa, and I'm like,
I
wow,
met-
there's this whole weed thing.
I met Wiz and my life changed. I've been high ever since. Nah, but I've been smoking ever since I moved to Miami because I couldn't sleep. And that was the only way I could sleep. And so I always hid it because I just felt like maybe I won't get this check if I'm, smoking or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I'm really vocal about issues that I feel like need to be spoken about. And so I was, interviewing Wiz for Fusion Snapchat takeover, and he went to pass me the joint, and I was like gave him like a weird look and started acting weird, like, oh, I don't want Fusion people
You're like,
to
wow,
know. I'm like, Fusion's right there. I don't want them to know that I would smoke weed,
Yeah, you're like, South Dade Toyota ain't gonna like this.
And then Wiz looks at me and he's like, what, you're not gonna smoke on camera? And I was like, nah, like this could mess up things for me. And he was like,
no.
He's like, but you're so vocal about, he's like, but do you think weed is a bad thing? And I was like, no, I think it's a great thing. And then he's like, well, we need people like you to be vocal about that because things will never change for the marijuana community.
Wiz Khalifa, man, that's
if you don't step up and say why you like it and like, whatever. And I was like, you know what? You're right. Like, why would I step up and talk about all these other things and then treat marijuana like it's some dirty secret that needs to be hid? Like, fuck that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm at a point where I'm saying no to a lot of things. Blessed, thank you. So if if somebody finds out that I smoke weed and that's going to stop them from hiring me for something, then, so be it. Like, that's a part of who I am. So I'm going to go ahead and be open about it. So I've been a little bit, I'm not obviously trying to like be out here like, yeah, we smoking weed, all the time.
You're like 10 pounds of weed.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to be flicking up with the bags like Wiz
You're a weed
is.
rapper now.
But, if I get caught with it or if I happen to have it in a picture and I want to post that pic, then like, so be it, So it's, and that also comes with me being more confident and comfortable at this age that I'm at right now too. Like, I think that'll just continue,
Just keep getting higher and higher.
Yeah, I'll just keep getting fucking high.
Thing, yeah.
No, even like I struggle because I don't even, I'm in a weird position because I could literally be hired to help curate an event for David Beckham's new rum line or whiskey, and then I could be hosting Rolling Loud the next weekend.
Yeah.
So and
you're
then
urban,
I could be
and then you're pop.
Like I could be in Haiti with the UN, and then I could be like at 420 Festival in Denver, like so, or Paris Fashion Week, and then All Star Weekend, like
Fox News. BET.
Exactly. And I want to be on E and I want to be on BET. And so like it's that thing again, like, oh, I'm friends with all the different groups. It's like in a grown up state. So it's hard because I'm like, damn, I wish I was a little more polished.
Right.
Like I swear a lot. And sometimes I'll watch footage and I'm like, the way you sit is horrible. He's never going to hire you for the red carpet. Like, so it's
I feel the same way when I do like interviews and they're like, oh, like, so you used to sell drugs. And I'm like, oh, let's talk about this for 20 minutes. Like I just fucking start airing shit out.
Did you used to sell drugs?
Let's not talk about the things I used to do.
Yeah?
Her eyes just lit up. Rope gang, what's up?
Coming up next on No Jumper, Yes Julz interviews.
That's a good idea. I would get interviewed by you.
Okay, we should do that next time.
One day.
Yeah,
because people are always trying to get me to do an interview on my own podcast. I'm like, I'm not doing that. But that would
I
be
could do you for my podcast.
You have a podcast?
Well, yeah, I do, but I haven't been keeping. It's hard, man. Podcasts are hard. You got to be up to like give the people one every week and stuff,
or 5 a week is extra hard.
Do you do 5 a week?
I try. I want to be a daily podcaster.
So is this your main bread and butter?
No, this is my new bread and butter.
Damn.
My main bread and butter is my BMX website and shit, but
lit. So you're about to. So this is probably about to be your main bread and butter though, because you're doing so well.
This is just extra on the top right now. It's just a brand new thing I've been doing for like 6 months.
So, oh wow, it's only 6 months. You have a crazy following for this podcast. How did it get so big?
I don't know. Same. How did your shit get so big? You're just popping, right?
I guess you just got the juice, man.
It's hard to identify what makes you, yeah.
But did you have like a BMX following prior?
Yeah, like we have 300,000 subscribers on the BMX YouTube and shit.
Okay.
So that's always been like
So
the
that was
thing.
the
So that's what's
launching
weird
point,
now
kind
for
of.
BMX kids, because it's like, oh, like everybody in my high school loves your podcast. Like they don't understand that you've been like real well known in BMX for 10 years. I'm like, I know.
So you like do crazy tricks and stuff?
Not myself. I've never been like a crazy trick guy. I'm more of like a filmer / like. I mean, I do ride a lot.
Yeah.
But I'm not like a pro. I was never a pro. I was just
So you
always,
just like were there for the content, kind of.
Yeah, I started like the BMX blog that basically became like Hypebeast for BMX
That's
sort
dope.
of thing like 10 years ago, and then it just sort of went from there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
But I
lit.
was just like a 13-year-old little BMX rat who was just in love with this shit.
Yeah.
And now here I am talking about myself in your interview.
Yeah. No, sorry.
No, it's
But,
cool because a lot of No Jumper fans don't really get
yeah.
it.
So now they know.
Now they know slightly more. That was a minute and 30 seconds of Julz interviewing me. So look forward to that in the
Look
future.
forward to the full length vid.
So this is the main question though: is what's in the future? Because you're doing so much right now. I'm sure it's hard for you to think about like what might be to come. But what's in the future? This is my way of wrapping up.
Yeah, I think about it all the time, every day. How do I say this? Everything, man.
Because the world is open for you right now. Like you
Yeah.
could realistically go in almost any direction.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like there's fashion, there's television, there's festivals, there's music, you know.
Weed,
And
selling weed.
selling
10
weed.
pounds of weed. Yeah.
You know, no. I just want to continue to just do whatever I want. Really, like I'm not just going with the flow. Like I have plans. I'm definitely breaking into the music industry. I have a knack for helping artists figure out how to package and brand their work and get it out to the masses and people. Yeah, like I just love people. I love connecting people. Like I get a high off of like, oh, what is it that you need? Oh, you need this? I know this person over here that supplies that. And then we could have this person cover it and then it could be elevated and all these people will know about it and we could also get it paid for by this. Like,
You're
you
like
know,
the
I'm
ultimate
really,
like industry social butterfly of like just the connector.
I just love that. I just love that so much. So if like on any level, if I could just continue doing this in every which way, like that's what I want to do. You know, I just started 1 a.m. Entertainment, and I wanted to be a safe place for artists to come and, you know, curate and create a buzz for themselves and not have to go about it the label way per
Right.
se, off bat at least until it's time to sign to a label. And
You see yourself being a label in the future? You could be like Leor Cohen type.
yeah, I definitely look up to Leor. I definitely look up to like
You watch his Snapchats?
David Geffen. No, is he on Snapchat?
His Snapchat is fire.
What is his Snap?
I think it might be just Leor Cohen, but it's definitely like a 50-year-old Jewish guy just talking.
Lyor.
Cohen. If that's not it, you could Google it or whatever, but
I can't believe he's on Snap.
it's fabulous. And he had like something where he ended up in the hospital the other day and he was snapping the whole thing.
Have you seen Arnold Schwarzenegger's Snapchat?
No.
It's actually the best thing on Snapchat, hands
Wow.
down.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look into that.
Same angle every time, like talks in the Arnold, like it's amazing. It's literally amazing.
Any other recommendations here? Arnold, Leor Cohen, DJ Khaled, Yes Julz, onsomeshit.com.
Nah.
Everybody's Snapchat sucks.
Yeah, I don't
I just
know.
don't look at them that much. So
Yeah,
I
I don't
know.
either.
I'm
So
sure there's a
like
lot
I'm
of
not
good
really
stuff out
well
there.
versed. But yeah, I don't know. Do you know who David Geffen is?
No, but who is that? It sounds
So
familiar.
he basically, somebody told me to watch this documentary and it changed my life. And this was when I went to Atlanta to
What's it
be
called?
Inventing David Geffen.
Okay.
Okay, and it's basically, I was trying to figure out the answer to your last question, you know, for a long time. And I'm like, oh man, I can't do everything. Like, what is it that I'm gonna do? Am I gonna have a label? Am I gonna do this? Am I gonna do that? And then I watched this movie on David Geffen, and he was basically this guy who started off as a kind of like a curator. He just liked music and knew a lot of people.
Right.
And then he found an artist he was passionate about, started managing her. Then went on to start his own label, Asylum Records, sold it to Warner Brothers for $599 million. Then he went on to work with the likes of Elton John, Cher, like major, you know what I mean?
Do you have a really good memory? Because I feel like I'm actually like reading from like the
Yoko-
description. Because
Yeah.
you're like the likes of, and then
Like-
599 million.
Yoko Ono, John Lennon,
Right.
like, you know, really work with these like major people. And then literally went on to he saw Steven Spielberg. He met Steven Spielberg, was like, yo, you're super talented. Like, I have this idea, created DreamWorks, sold it, like all kinds of stuff. So he had his hands in entertainment, even like developed a relationship with the Clintons and helped Clinton become president. Like literally did his campaign with him, was one of the biggest donors, drew attention to it in Hollywood, all this stuff. And it was basically a movie about how this guy, David, was like a little social butterfly who had all these friends and was an ultimate connector, and ended up being like, now he's worth like, I don't know, $10 billion or so. I mean, the guy made DreamWorks. Like he's behind like a lot of our favorite movies, you know, and albums and everything. So yeah, I would like to be like David Geffen, I guess.
Just what you're doing now, but on a much larger scale.
Yeah, basically.
Well, hey, that's awesome. This has been a fabulous interview. I'm really excited about this.
Thanks.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, man.
I feel like people really are going to get to know the real you, besides like the interviews I read before were a little like PR'd out, like a little like, not like bad
they're
way,
pretty
but
dry.
they're just sort of stock answers that, you know, I'm glad that we got like the real.
I'm glad I got to come on Skid Row.
Skid Row. Shout out to Skid Row.
Shout out to No Jumper right on Skid Row.
Shout out to single ladies who aren't scared to walk around Skid Row.
I was on the phone outside, and a lady's like, I'm like on the phone texting something important, and she's like, yo, can you figure out which building it is? And I'm like, yeah, hold on. And I'm like texting. She's like, Julz, we're on Skid Row.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, hold on, let me figure this out.
We just heard there were 25 drug deaths in Skid Row like in the past like day or two.
What?
Just some bad batch of meth or some shit.
Are you serious?
Some guy was just telling Nate that, yeah.
That's crazy.
Welcome to Skid Row. Welcome to the jungle.
That's sad, man.
What should people know about you? Like, if they want to get in touch with the Yes Julz on Twitter, Instagram.
Yeah, I'm Yes Julz on all social media platforms. YesJulz.com. We have an app coming out with our own radio station.
Wow.
Via Dash soon. So major announcement alert.
Major key.
And so look out for that, and just make sure you know.
Stay in touch.
Follow me on the Snap.
Watch her moves. Hey, all the young girls who are watching No Jump for the first time should definitely subscribe and follow and join our gang and everything.
Yeah, swag. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate it.
You should come to Miami, and we do the interview whenever you want to go down.
I want to do a No Jumper party in Miami.
Yo, No Jumper would be a great name for a party.
See, there you go. And I got friends in Miami.
You should turn this. Yeah, you should do a party series with the people that you interview.
There you go. That is what I want to do. I just have not. I want to do so much different shit with this, like especially with the merch and stuff.
There's so much you could do.
The merch is gonna be retarded,
but
it's
gonna be great.
It's just the fact that all I want to do is the interviews. So I gotta like find somebody to help me fucking do all this shit.
It's hard finding good work.
Yeah, especially when you're just like, I'm like actually passionate about the interviews and stuff, and I like the clothing side of things, but I don't want to actually do it all myself.
That's how I feel about my merch.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to find the Virgil to your Kanye, you know?
Yeah, there you go.
So you could go out and rap and push the albums out. Wow.
That's the other thing I want to do is I want to start rapping, you know?
You should.
No,
not
that's
rap.
very strong. I have a very strict no rapping policy.
Yeah,
Even
no
like
rapping.
the jokey freestyle thing, I'm like opposed to. I'm like, I'm not doing that. No.
Yeah, I do that when I'm drunk.
No, I would. As soon as
I'm
there's a
kinda
camera out, I'm
really
like, bro,
good,
get the
too.
fucking camera away from me, you know?
Yeah.
It's too much. It's bad. I asked some girls I know if I should get a grill too, and they said no grill.
No grill? No, don't do the grill.
Yeah, they're like, you're not.
It's already a lot
in your life.
Like you have like a lot of tats and stuff.
True.
You know?
Yeah, the grill might put it over the top. People might really mistake me for Kodak Black. Yeah. All right, this has been the
I already
Yes
knew
Julz
she was
interview.
gonna do that. All right, this is thank you, appreciate you.
Thank you, I appreciate it. This was fun.
All right, cool.
Yo, I definitely need to eat, bro.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.